Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Thank you all for your patience this morning. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Oh boy. All right, we got a few announcements here. First off, today after the service, there's a workshop, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy that Reverend Jesse's going to go over this afternoon if you want to stay after the service, right immediately after. A couple announcements with Jesse. He was interviewed this past week on the Ignite Your Inner Light podcast with Katie Marietta Tundon. And if you need or you want, just check out our Facebook page. There's a link there. And he also led the 11 a.m. prayer service for Silent Unity. And also there's a link on the Facebook page for that. So Jesse's been busy all during the week. So we appreciate that. December 7th is the Art of Living Christmas joint celebration that we're going to be having here. A lot of Art of Living people. We've got Mary Walker coming in from Boone, North Carolina to sing. So it was a great time last year. We had a lot of people and a lot of great food. So that's December 7th. On December 18th, the Ukrainians are doing the Christmas concert. It's a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock here in the sanctuary. So be sure to check that out because that was great last year also. What else we got? November 14th, this Thursday, Ecstatic Dance is doing an event here, 6 to 9. It's open to the public. And you just need to check out their website because I'm really not as familiar with what they are, but Ecstatic Dance is the name of that group. Also, next Saturday, we're going to have a cleanup day. If you missed it last Saturday, and just check with any of us or George. But we do need volunteers. We're cleaning up around the outside, cutting the grass, cutting back shrubbery. We spent a number of hours last Saturday and love to have some more volunteers doing that. So that'll be next Saturday at 9 a.m. And lastly, next November 17th, the next Sunday, we're having a town hall meeting. Just go over plans we have for the church, and if anybody has any suggestions, anything that you want to happen here at the church, please join us. And we're going to have a potluck Thanksgiving dinner right after that downstairs. So there's a sign-up sheet in the lobby if anybody wants to. We've got all kinds of different dishes if you want to sign up to bring for the potluck next week. Please, on the table out there in the lobby, sign up. See, yes, Danella is handling all of that. So please see her if you have any questions. Yeah. Thank you much. All right.
Thank you, Bruce. Good morning, everybody. If you all will, take a few moments to settle as we turn our attention inward to the unconditional presence of love we call God. In this sacred space, we give thanks for the opportunity to be vessels of light. We affirm that all of our efforts and our prayer and sacred service will result in light. We allow the activity of intelligence, the presence of God, to speak to all of us, to provide reassurance where there's confusion, to provide healing where there is pain, and to lift our spirits and guide us towards hope of a better today and hope of a better tomorrow. We affirm that our individual lives are in divine order, and we allow the presence of God to help us to carry forth that divine plan. We speak blessings on who we have to be on today and on Monday, affirming that the presence of God goes with us during those times. And it's in the name and the nature of all that is holy, we affirm that this service is blessed, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
just gonna play the bowls for your sound meditation. Feel free to relax, close your eyes. I always like to start with 3 big deep breaths. In through your nose, filling up the belly. And a nice audible and one. Just continue in through the nose and out through the mouth.
Good morning, Unity.
Good morning.
I'd like to continue that beautiful meditation and energy and invite you all to consider this song, which is called Lighthouse. And it's our opportunity to go forward in the world in times like these, being a lighthouse. The lyric for the chorus is, "Let me be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you." Okay. Let me be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. Be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. Have you noticed lately, mayhem in the air, something's going on. Markets crashing, people dashing, chaos everywhere, getting harder to hold on. But your flame in me is burning, making me ready to fly. Let me be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. Be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. Searching for answers to questions on my mind. Feels like something's wrong. Social separation, but not from the divine. Apart but not alone. Your flame in me is burning, making me ready to shine. Let me be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. Be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. There's nothing like the present. Although we're living in uncertain times, dark days won't last always. We are one with the divine. It's time for us to shine. Let me be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. Be your lighthouse in all I say and do. Let love shine through me and lead someone to you. I want to be a lighthouse in all the things I say and do. I want to be someone who leads someone to you. I want to be a lighthouse in all the things I say and do. I want to be someone who leads someone to you. I want to be a lighthouse in everything I say and do. I want to be someone who leads someone to you.
Take a moment just to rest in that energy established by the meditator. A wonderful, wonderful meditation by Dr. Julian. Just rest with me collectively. It was a concept I was introduced to yesterday by my mentor, Bishop Craig. Thin places. If you're Irish, you might have heard of it before. But thin places are places on the planet, places in society, even people, where the veil is sort of thin, where you make contact with the divine. Not that the divine isn't everywhere present, but you really, really feel it in certain spaces. Just take the time with me just to relax in the state of awareness and gratefulness that we have a place that we can turn to in the city of Birmingham when we need to refresh and heal. Just in this sacred moment, take the time to pause and enter into the silence. Resting in this moment, feeling past the mind, past the emotions, and feeling at your center the burning ember of the light of God, shining forward through the mind and the heart and the body. Take a deep breath, release the sound of ah. Open your eyes and share that light with the world. And so it is. If you will, rub your hands together. Let's send a special blessing to those that are watching online. Say this with me: divine love, in us, blesses and multiplies all that you hear, all that you see. Know in this moment you are safe and you are loved, and so it is. Our ministry is supported by partners like you. Remember to log on to unitybham.org and click on giving. Your donations do matter, and so it is. Good morning, everybody. First of all, let me say thank you to all of you that have gathered here today. I am not unaware of the nature and the state of things in America. So the fact that you've decided to enter into a sacred place and just rest the mind, rest words for a second, is an act of sacred activism. Which means that in spite of where you stand intellectually or in your mind, you've decided to put that down and turn your attention to something much, much deeper, which is the state of the heart. And if you will, put your hands together just for that. Because that's important. I was reminded today, before I get into the message, something that I said last week, and it was a quote from my grandmother or my mother. Probably both of them, I can't remember, because they used to say stop talking a lot. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which is why it's important to listen. And in times like these, in sacred times, and I call them sacred, not because of what people say about these times or what people may say about them, but they're holy moments. In fact, in sacred literature, if you study, you'll find that during moments of uncomfortability, mystics and prophets, they would stop and they'd build an altar there. And that used to bug me. It's like, there's conflict or disagreement. Why would you stop and build an altar there? And the reason why they did that was because they recognized that sometimes that light, it never goes out, but there are things that get in the way that obstruct it. And there are times in our life and in our world where we just have to pause. Like, pause. Just push pause for a second. The same consciousness that we would have when we enter into the room to bear witness to someone that's in pain. If you've ever been with anybody in pain, sometimes they'll tell you, don't raise your voice, because if you raise your voice, you wake them up and they're calm. So you come in and sit and listen and just be with them. And bearing witness and living life is one of the greatest lessons of spiritual activism that you could probably teach anyone who knows nothing about the subject. Because sitting in silence and just being with yourself and being with people, at some point you start to settle, and instead of trying to force the right words, instead of trying to think of the right words, the right word sometimes comes. And sometimes that one word is hello. How are you? Not what you think, not how you feel, but just back to the very, very basics. And when you do that, you sort of release. You release your typical understanding, you release your typical ways of being, and you allow something much, much deeper, beyond the mind, beyond the emotions, beyond what you feel, to sort of take precedence. And I found that although those moments are uncomfortable, God knows if you're a talker, walking into a space where you don't have the right words, it's like, I can't use that trick because I don't know what to say to make them smile because they don't want to smile. They're in pain. Should I touch them? Nah, just that sensitivity of touch might startle them. So I just have to sit there and be quiet. And then one word will come. Sometimes people will play music. You ever been with anybody that's ill? They'll play music just to soothe them and make them comfortable just for a second. I believe we are in those times just because of all the polarization that's happened in the world, wherever you stand. And so it's important during these times. Yes, I'm a faith leader, but I believe that it's important to turn back to principles that reach beyond your own understanding, just to find that connection to that light. Because when you find the connecting point to that light, it sort of reminds you of what living is all about. Even when you get what you want and when you don't get what you want, to be very basic. You find the light of God. Moving beyond that on the surface of humanity and doing the people and things that we do our best to do, but God knows sometimes we bump heads, y'all. Oh my God. It makes you glad sometimes that there's not an old man sitting up in the sky because he'd be upset or she'd be upset. Look at those people again, doing what people do. I'll let them figure it out. I'm going to go watch TV. That's why your prayers are delayed because God is watching Netflix. There you go. You laughed. It's these very basic things that we have with us that are gifts that we have to turn to at times, because if you've ever, again, been with anybody who's ill, sometimes it's those things, those weird, uncomfortable moments of laughter. They break the ice even when you didn't realize there was ice there. And then you do what some may say is a cop-out, but it's the thing that my grandmother taught me, which is to keep on living. You keep on living, you keep on breathing, you take life one step at a time. And when you do that and do the very best you can, change happens over time. Sometimes change happens in an instant and we celebrate, and sometimes change happens over time, and change sometimes happens beyond our lifetime and we don't get a chance to see it with our eyes. But that's the hard work. The easy work is when we get to invest in life and then we get to see the results of our labor. The hard part, take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The hard part is doing it and setting and tilling the ground for a new generation. Even if that light is small, you teach them how to laugh. You teach them how to find their center when things don't go their way. You teach them how to return back to a state of appreciation when things do go their way, so that they could keep living. Because the goal of life is that in spite of it all, you keep living. Say this with me, keep living. It may not be the thing that people want to hear right now, because truth be told, sometimes there is no perfect answer. No perfect answer. So when doing runs out, because sometimes doing is important, we gotta do it. We got stuff to do. We have to act now. When doing runs out, you return to a state of being, and you sit and you wait in the silence. It's why historically the contemplatives and the activists would always go heads. The contemplatives would say, oh, the activists are doing way too much. And the activists would turn to people like Howard Thurman and say, oh, you talk but don't act. Sometimes you have to return back to the beginning, to reconnect with life inside and reconnect with the purpose of life. And then expand your mind to consider the context of the entirety of human existence. So that when you can't find peace, here's the most important part, when you can't find peace in the moment. Mindfulness is all about returning to the moment. But what if you can't find peace in the moment? You expand your mind to include and consider the context of the entirety of human existence. And you see where there has been episodes of peace. So that you are always looking for something to reignite that spark so that you can keep living, keep going, keep doing the work. If you don't hear anything I've ever said, I say to you this morning, keep living, and keep doing the work. If you notice that the work that you're doing doesn't result in big changes, look for medium changes. Medium changes don't work, look for small changes. Small changes don't work, look for microscopic changes. Because if you continue to look for the good and continue to push for peace and continue the work of living life, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, something happens. A rapture happens. The collective consciousness of humanity wakes up, even if it might go back to sleep. And in that, there's hope. Because now you see that spiritual practice isn't for the weak. It's fun to talk about our chakras. It's fun to talk about all of our spiritual stuff. But when it's not so fun, it's like, I don't want to play that game anymore. But say this with me, there are benefits to spiritual practice. And those benefits are, they give you a sense of resolve about the world. Not complete assurance, because when the external world does something that's outside of what you expected it to be, it shocks you, and it's supposed to. Anybody that's not shocked in a human body at times, I don't think they're really living. But when you're in touch with pain, in touch with uncomfortability, to bring it home, Siddhartha said this to his disciples before he transitioned. He said that when someone comes in front of you and they're on fire, do you pause and ask them, who did this and why? Or do you stop and put the fire out? That kind of basic return, coming back to the basics, principles, understandings, that sort of stuff, I think is what we need. It provides a temporary balm just to get us through the day. So again, when you can't find the strength to think about tomorrow or think about the present moment, ask yourself, what can I do to get through this moment? What can I do to get through today? And when this moment is too painful, then you expand your mind to consider the context of human history, which is what I want to kind of walk us through when I get to the storytelling time. Because when you expand your mind and you see the entire world as it's struggling to grow up, then you realize that sometimes my pain, although valid, is only because I only see it from my bubble of the world. Although the entire world is doing the best it can, change is happening somewhere. So you have to keep hope alive. And the way to do that is to find things that feed your soul. What feeds your soul? What nourishes you? Even if it used to be 1,000 things. Sometimes during lean times, you get to the one thing. Or like we did during COVID. Say this with me, chop wood, carry water. You do that mentally, you do that emotionally, you do that spiritually. Even if it's closing the doors temporarily to your house and turning to those people that are in those rooms and you see the light in their eyes and you start there. That's how change happens on a grassroots level. You start with yourself. You start with the people that are in your house. I hope I don't get arrested for this message. You start with the people in your house, and then you start in your town, your city, and so on and so forth. And when you're up that mountain in the city and higher, and it's too high, and you got to come back down, remember, wash, rinse, and repeat. This is the nature of spiritual work. It's why Jesus got in trouble. We love his wonderful parables, but this individual got in trouble because of the things he said, because the very simple basic practices of returning to love and returning back to practice, even though they're simple and they're not deep, they're actually revolutionary. Because if one person does it, and another person does it, and an entire household does it, then an entire subdivision does it, and an entire town does it, come on somebody, and an entire city does it, and an entire state does it, then there's change. Say this with me. Change happens. Change happens. Over time. So today's theme, or this month's theme, has been released in partnership with the 12 Powers theme. I've sort of been following the 12 Powers as they recommend powers or individual gifts of the Spirit, according to Charles Fillmore, spread out over the month. And release is a funny word, because when you think about it, we want to release the bad, we want to release all of that other stuff. But sometimes you have to let go of everything. You can't get more if your hands are closed, you know? And the wonderful thing about life and our bodies is hate and love can exist in the same context, psychologically, consciously. So we have to open our hearts completely in order to allow the presence of life, the presence of love, in order for hope, all that stuff to come in and come out. I can't close my hand to you because you disagree with me and open my hands to you because by nature of me closing one part, it shuts down the potential for something else good to happen. Because as human beings, when you consider the context of life, you'd be surprised as to what you can live through. You'd be surprised as to what you can do when you try. But it didn't work out. You keep trying. Please hear me. But it did. You keep trying. Even if you're trying just for the sake of trying. Because remember, the goal isn't just to change the world in one lifetime. You're doing this work so that it can matter for generations. Sacred text says, or mystics say, there are 3 times, and then I'll move on. There are 3 times when a person transitions. When they let go of everything in life and they're still alive, when you leave this body, and the 3rd time that you transition is when the last relative, generations down the line, stops speaking your name. So you can live for a very, very long time. 2,000 years and we're still telling the same kinds of stories. Say this with me, change happens over time, sometimes over generations. And there is some hope in that. And if that's all the hope that you can grab onto in the moment, then you grab hold of that until it blossoms. And sure enough, if you mix hope in fertile ground, which is the heart, it will blossom. You'll be surprised as to what you can do. So today's topic within the theme of release is it came to pass. Say this with me, it came to pass. Charles Fillmore in 1931 is recorded to having had said this particular phrase, and I know you all remember it because you're true students. It's feast or famine. Feast or famine. And people have played with that concept a lot, but I saw it last night differently. And it with me, it reminded me of the all or nothing mentality that I can sometimes have. When things don't go my way, I'm like, oh, screw it. Say this with me, you have to keep going. Because things in life come to pass. Yes, things in life happen. They come to pass, meaning it happened. But things in life come to pass. What we have to do is find hope, find strength, find peace, and find love in the soul and in the eyes of those we love and care for, so that the stuff of life doesn't stick too much. Because if it sticks too much, the uncomfortability stuff, it can set us back. The actual definition for trauma is pain that's held in the body, the mind, and the soul. When it's held onto for too long, it doesn't have a chance to heal. So when circumstances of life happen, when we hold on to them too long, especially the negative, they become traumatic and they set us back. So it's important to continue, even if it's slow, to continue the spiritual work of returning to your principles, of returning to your practices, so that you can have that energy and that zest for life to keep going. Say this again, and it came to pass. When you find yourself stuck in life, situationally, or things don't go the way you prayed for, and it makes you even question whether or not the divinity that we talk about with the acronym of God is even real, remind yourself it came to pass. This moment comes to pass. This emotion comes to pass. And if this emotion comes to pass, then I can't even trust it, because I feel like this and I might say this today and tomorrow it might be something else, which is why sacred text says, be slow to anger, be slow to wrath. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Try to do what you can to work out your disagreements before nightfall, so that you don't carry the disappointments and the agitation from yesterday into tomorrow. Because you have no idea what could be waiting on you tomorrow. The very thing that you're angry about today, tomorrow you can wake up and there may not be the perfect solution, but there's hope. So you do the spiritual work to give hope a chance. It's an eternal reality, alive in your heart and in the world. You can see it in the eyes of your children. You can see it in the eyes of the ones you love. You can see it in the eyes of strangers that when you go to the grocery store, they ring you up and say, thank you for shopping with us. They ain't got to say nothing to you. But they look at you and say, thank you. Say this with me. There's hope. That's what you need. Hope. I want to tell you a story because I love sacred texts and literature and stories. In the 9th century, there was an individual in the Hebrew text by the name of Elijah. Everybody remembers Elijah the prophet. But I want to give you sort of a holistic, big picture of Elijah before we wrap up this morning. Elijah the prophet lived during the 9th century. Now, this is in the Palestinian area, but guess what else was going on in the 9th century? During the 9th century, in what we later call the New World, the North American continent, the Olmecs were actually building pyramids. The Olmecs were building pyramids. During the life of Elijah, he had no understanding of the Olmec tradition. So Elijah, while he was doing what he did to carry out his ministry, the good, the bad, the up, and the down, and a lot of downs if you understand his story, there was a civilization on the planet that was reaching its height. And again, I say to you, when you find yourself stuck in moments of pain and trauma and things don't go your way, if you can expand your mind to see the context of human civilization, or to expand your mind to see what's going on in the world at large, hope can exist. Say this again with me, and it came to pass. That affirmation was something that Elijah had to learn. He didn't know anything about 9th century or what was going on the other side of the planet. He didn't understand that later on, generations down the line, when the Roman government would collapse and we would experience in the Western world the Dark Ages, that in China and in other places they were experiencing Eastern teachings that were transforming culture and they were writing on paper. He didn't understand that, at some point in the world, Nordic individuals like Eric the Red would come over the shores and discover North America, or people like Mansa Musa would sail around the Horn of Africa and discover the shore way before a guy named Christopher Columbus even thought about anything. Life is big. It doesn't mean that you are ignoring the context of the uncomfortability of the present moment. But when you look at life holistically, you can get inspired because, again, there's hope. When I'm uncomfortable and I'm in pain, there's hope somewhere. Let me find a way to connect with that. And that becomes the thing that pulls you over. So in the book of 1 Kings, which is, the story comes from the 9th century about the prophet Elijah, the 18th chapter, 44th verse. What was occurring during that time was a famine or a drought in the land. And in that particular story, the 18th chapter talks about the drought and says that there had been no rain. No rain because the prophet Elijah said there would be no rain. He kind of got caught up in his own prophecy. He thought that by making that prediction, it would cause things to happen that he wouldn't experience. Here's the individual thing, if I can put a push in here about life. While the world is experiencing uncomfortabilities and difficulties, our spiritual practices sometimes lead us to believe that we won't oftentimes experience uncomfortability too. And just to bring that home, I want to tell you that we are human just like everybody else. But these truth teachings are the things that anchor us. And it gives us relatability. So that when the world is confused and we hear the glooms and the things that Dr. Julian talked about in the song, we can continue to be a lighthouse. We realize that although the pain may exist and although the uncomfortability may exist on various levels, that's not all there is to life. Say this with me. There's hope. It's another thing. So to finish up the story, in that 44th verse, of course, there's a drought. And then Elijah does something. He lays down, prays, and sends his servant Elisha to go and look for rain. Elisha goes one time, no rain, no hope, comes back. I don't see it. Second time, I don't see it. Third time, I don't see it. Fourth time. Seventh time, Elisha goes and sees a small cloud about the size of a human hand. And that cloud rained. Oh my God, it rained. On the mystical level, the word hand, everybody say this with me, hand. Hand in Hebrew is the word kaf, and kaf as a can't think of a word, a numerical equivalency, thank you, of 20. Rashi in 1090, in commenting on the Talmud, said that the word hand and kaf and 20 are significant because the curtain in the Hebrew tabernacle that separated the camp from the more holy places was about 20 amat wide. And amat is the length of a human arm. So the mystics associated the word kaf and hand and 20 with spiritual blindness. And you can see in the story the blindness of Elijah's servant. The blindness wasn't a bad thing. The storytellers put that tale in there to let us know that there are times in the world where the sun does not appear to come out. You have to find practices that anchor you in to let you know that even though a cloud is there, so also is the sun. Say this with me, and it came to pass. Difficulties come to pass, uncomfortabilities come to pass, and if you hang on to hope, relationships can be mended, life can go on, and life can flourish. If not in your lifetime, in many, many, many lifetimes to come. And that is the work that you are called to spiritual responsibility, where you recognize that, yes, I want to do what I can to affect change now, but if I am not alive to see the changes that I'm working on, I'm going to continue to do this work so that my children and my children's children will benefit it and reap the benefits. And I believe change is possible, and I believe in humanity. Do you? You believe in humanity?
Yes.
Thank you all for listening. Peace and blessings. Our offering. For those of you that give online, remember to log on to unitybham.org and click on giving. Those that give in-house, our ushers are making their way forward to collect the offering, while LaDonna gives us a special selection, or Dr. Julian, or Dr. Julian's got one more. Make us happy, Dr. Julian.
Well, no pressure. I think I just want to stay in that same energy and we make our own world wherever we are. So this second song is called Deliver Us. It's another original song. So pray along with me as we sing it together. The lyrics are deliver us, please deliver us. Deliver us, Lord, please deliver us and restore our faith.
Deliver us, oh Lord. Please deliver us. Deliver us, oh Lord. Please deliver us and restore our faith. Yesterday, as I watched the evening news, a world filled with suffering left me feeling sad and blue. My eyes filled with tears from the images of suffering. I fell to my knees and began to pray. Deliver us, oh Lord. Please deliver us. Deliver us, oh Lord. Please deliver us and restore our faith. Tomorrow is not promised. Only love can conquer hate. Hope lives on in sorrow. We almost fall on our knees and began to pray. Deliver us, oh Lord. Please deliver us. Deliver us, oh Lord. Please deliver us and restore our faith again.
Saturate this space with hope on today. If you will, let's bless this offering. Rub your hands together and point in the direction of the individual holding the basket. Say this with me. We bless this offering. Affirming it will be used for the building of this ministry. We bless the givers. We affirm their gifts will return back to them. Good measure. Pressed down. Shaken together. Running over. And so it is. Put your hands together one more time.
We can all stand. prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is.
Where I am, God is, and
All is well.
I know. That's why I was trying to.
Your pictures are also, yeah, so good. And of course, there's a lot of content there, you know.
Yeah, a lot of other things.
I can see a lot of